What I'm going to show you now is how I get my students to put together their folios for their cupcake work. I call the work or the topic that we're doing a lot of cupcakes, because if I have a full class and everyone does 3 cupcakes, I have a lot of cupcakes in the room to look after. Now, if I can, I do take them to the food room and I get the food teacher, which is often me, to help. We go through the food assistant, and we make cupcakes. The kids think it's awesome. The parents think it's awesome that they're in the art room, but we get to make cupcakes. Now, if you don't get to do that, well, you can't get to do everything that we do. So just see how you go in asking to do that. What their task is that they actually make 3 cakes. So the first one is the clay cake. And then the next one is they're going to make a mixed media cupcake, and then they make a textiles cupcake. Now the textiles and the mixed media is very similar, but I do add the 2 different ones. Otherwise I get, paper on everything. So that's why I add the textiles element, and that's an example of how it can be presented. The thing about the 3 cakes is they have to have some sort of a unified approach to it. Whether it be the 3 cakes have color in them that is similar, whether they're shapes or tones or little things stuck on them. And I explain it to the students so that if I took all of their 3 pieces of work and spread it around the room, someone should be able to come in and go, oh, that goes with that, that goes with that. So that's the 3 pieces. So there's an element that they need to factor into their designing. Now, if you can cook your cakes, great. If you can't cook your cakes, just get online and then you can find some little cakes to sketch. I get my students to sketch a minimum of 3 cupcakes, and they have to be annotated with some color. While they're drawing their cakes, they need to think about their basic shapes, the composition of what they're going to do, the size, the colors, the backgrounds, and the layers, and even the surfaces that they're working on. So they're starting to put all those sorts of thoughts into this brainstorming ideas page. Now, if you get to make your clay cupcake, they need to document those stages of that making as well. So that's the coils, using the slab and the joining, the decoration, and that all needs to be annotated. So it's really important that you emphasize that they need to be taking photos. I usually draw a camera on the board, and that reminds me to yell out, right, everyone, make sure you're taking photos of your work, and they can either get their phones or their devices to take photos. I also get them to document the stages that they've made their mixed media piece, as well as their textiles piece. And I try and encourage them to factor in their elements and principles of art now. What are the elements that they're in their work? Are they there for a reason? What is their intention? So that they really need to start to be writing about their elements and principles. I also get them to do a comparison of 4 artists' work, and I've got that 4 artists' work from different cultures, from different time periods that they can write about in contemporary work as well. There's also a way to present their work. I've already explained that. So this is their piece where the clay sits on here, and their mixed media and their textiles piece sits here. And this is the newspaper that I give them as a template to practice on before they cut up their 200-gram GSM card. Now, how I get my students to present their 3 cupcake pieces is I get a piece of 200-gram black paper. If they want a different color, they can. And I get them, because they've got to consider different ways of presentation. But before I let them just chop up an expensive piece of card, I give them a piece of newspaper, and I get them to put their work on it so they can work out how big it's going to be. So let's say they've got that on it, and then they can cut that up, and they can cut up the other side, because let's just pretend their work is sitting on that. Now, once they've cut this up and they've got it to a presentation level that works, then I give them the card, and then they can use this as a template. So I've cut both sides, and then I'm going to cut up the middle a certain distance. Both of these get folded, and then when it sits up, you can use that. The leftover card, if you want to, you can use to fill in that gap, or they can stick another coloured piece down there. So you can see, obviously this piece of paper won't hold it, but the 200-gram paper will hold the weight of their work. Students also have to stick in a picture of their work and do an evaluation. I usually have, I don't know, about 20 questions in a document that I send them, and not all of them relate to the task, but what I get them to do is pick out relevant evaluation questions so that they can write in pertaining to whatever medium or topic it is that they have included. If students are really struggling with their annotation of their work, and especially for my modified learners, I drop it back to www, what worked well, and even better if, so EBI. And it's a little rhyming thing, not a rhyming, just a little saying that we have. Okay guys, what do we need to write? www, and they can associate with the internet, www, and EBI. And that tends to help some of my kids with their writing. Okay, I've spoken about annotation of a folio. In a part of my room, I've actually gone online and I found lots of pages that I could print for guidance as to what to talk to the kids about when what they're writing about the folios. This is not mine. I've got this off the internet, but it's a nice, easy way with nice big headings and clear writing to help kids write. This one's not mine either. This has got key terms that I'm trying to encourage students to use. Good luck with that, because I find it really hard to get them to do it. This one's not mine, but this is a little bit more of a written task, so this could extend kids a little bit. Okay, this one is mine. This is annotation. So the sentence identifies the materials being used, discussing the technique being used, reflect on what has been achieved, highlight the problems that have occurred, what needs to be done to resolve it, and don't forget the aesthetics, which is a nice art term, and your aesthetics are putting your elements and principles together. So there's lots of things online that you can use to help the kids with their annotation. I do find it hard to give them a push in that, but you know, you can have a go.